Okay, sweet. So Joe's gonna be here in like 2 minutes. I've been telling Joe for well over a year that I'm gonna make this secret project. He has no idea what it is, nor does he know that I actually made this for him. So I'm really excited to finally get to give this to him. I think he's gonna be really excited and super surprised. Ready? Can't even close the garage door because the lighting's kind of weird. Don't, no, not yet. Okay, ready?
Oh, that's so cool.
Using my collection of fancy hardwoods, I'm going to build an epic wooden Tesla stock chart. I'm going to make the first half of the chart based on Tesla's stock performance over the last 5 years. Then I'm going to make the final half of the chart based on what I think is going to happen to Tesla stock over the next 5 years. And folks, I think we're in for a wild ride. So, I have wanted to make this project for over 1,000 days. See, I was trimming off the end of a cutting board glue up when this offcut fell to the floor. At the time, I was like, that looks like my stock portfolio, and the idea was born. If you're a new viewer of my channel, hello, I'm James. Welcome to Blue North Woodworking. And thanks for giving my small channel a chance. As a small channel, I wanted to make something different. Something I'd never seen anyone else make before. Today I'm building a wooden Tesla stock chart for my best friend Joe, and he has no idea. And as for why Tesla, long story short, I like the stock. To me it seems very similar to investing in Apple before the iPhone came out. I'll get more into this later. What you've seen me do so far is find a really cool looking piece of maple, cut it to size, and then take the wobble out of it using my planer. I then checked to make sure it was square, sanded, talked to myself a little bit, and then applied Rubio Monocoat's Intense Black Stain. But it came out a little darker than I wanted. All right, we're gonna do a little hand sanding at 320. No idea how this will go. I kind of like it. I then gathered some fancy hardwoods and began milling them on the jointer and planer. I then took them to my table saw and ripped them to appropriate sized pieces and whipped out my PushDick from my buddy Hugh at Hewman Made. He's a fellow YouTuber and he makes some super impressive things. Unfortunately, the PushDick was too wide and smelled funny, so I switched to my gripper. After ripping the pieces to size, it was off to the miter saw. This bench frustrates me so much. It is always so messy. Hey James, not right now. James, what? Remember in your last video how you said you're gonna build a miter station? I'll do it in the winter. The miter saw had pieces flying everywhere, so I jumped back to the table saw. I cut many pieces to various lengths so that I had lots of options when laying out the chart. I then spent a significant amount of time cleaning these pieces up before adding them onto my backer board. Before you see me predict the second half of my chart, I need you to know that I'm not simply guessing here. Well, it's an educated guess, but I've done my homework. To get you up to speed, we need to go on a little field trip. Welcome to Tesla School with James. I'm James. Today, class, I will share a list of many different catalysts over the next 5 years, though I'm only going to address the most important, or else this video would be 45 minutes long. Electric vehicle adoption rates continue strong growth. Full self-driving reaches level 5 autonomy, creating a Tesla robotaxi network. Energy storage adoption rates continue strong growth. Optimus Bot becomes purposeful in many ways, specific and generalized. Thank you for coming to Tesla School with James. In all seriousness though, here is a somewhat detailed list of upcoming Tesla stock catalysts over the next 5 years. You can screenshot this and look into them yourself if you're so inclined. I constructed the majority of this chart out of lighter colored woods that I felt would contrast well with the black backer board, but two pieces are different. The orange piece you see represents Optimus Bot, and the purple represents full self-driving. I feel that when these two products and services come to fruition, the stock will jump significantly. Next, I'm going to take this piece of Babinga in order to trace out the Tesla stock ticker letters, TSLA, and for that, I'm going to use my bandsaw. Hey, look at that, I've got a bandsaw now. I feel like it's missing something. After finally assembling the bandsaw that I bought nearly a year ago, I got to work on the letters. It was my first time using a bandsaw since grade 7 shop class. My work and my planning process could have definitely been better. After some pretty mediocre work, I was left with these. After I cut these, I tidied up my bench and spent time with a frequent and annoying visitor. Those letters don't look very good. Hey, thanks so much. Well, they're just too small, you know? I think they're okay. They're ugly. You're ugly. We're the same person. Do you think you can do better? Yep. There you go, pal. Yeah, don't call me pal, buddy. These look way better. After reluctantly accepting some help, I got started on the border for the chart. I used miter joints, which is something I'd never done before. Eventually, I sorted it out. I applied some Titebond 3 glue and used this handy 4-corner clamp. If you want a clamp like this, there's a link to it in the description below. Alright, this is where we're at so far. The miter joints came out okay. I would say they're not bad for my first try, but definitely room for improvement. Miter joints are not typically the strongest joints. They're a type of butt joint. So, did somebody say butt joint? Buddy, not like that. So we're gonna put in some splines to strengthen the butt joint. I then followed a video from Michael Alm on how to make a spline jig. I located the center of the border and measured on my table saw to make sure the blade went through the exact center, taking into account the 3/4 inch piece of plywood on the side of the spline jig. I clamped the stock chart onto the spline jig because at first I didn't, and whoops. I then used a piece of leftover babinga for the splines. I didn't feel right running such a thin piece through my planer, so I glued it to a piece of mahogany first. Oh shit, I got major tear out. They were still a touch too thick, so I glued a piece of sandpaper to a piece of plywood and began sanding. I then took this piece and cut it into smaller pieces to use for the splines. As you can see, I was having a good time. I somehow didn't record myself putting the splines in, but here they are. I put my brand on the back of Joe's chart. And then trimmed off the excess portion of the splines. But not without a mistake. Whoops! I accepted my incompetence, scooped my pride up off the floor, and moved over to the bandsaw. Since my miter joints were as bad as my pole saw use, I used some glue and sawdust to fill in the cracks. I then spent the next good while sanding. After sanding, I brought the chart inside and engraved a little message on the back for Joe. Speaking of Joe, I want to say why I made this for him. He's also a fan of Tesla stock. Over 4 years ago, I told him I invested a bit of money into the company, and I'll never forget this. He laughed in my face. See, we live in Canada, and Joe, uneducated at the time, thought EVs would never work, especially in our climate. If you noticed at the start of the video, Joe pulled up to my garage in the 2023 world's best-selling vehicle, the Tesla Model Y. But Joe, he's awesome. We work together, and oftentimes I will ramble on ad nauseum about my woodworking ideas and how I plan to grow my YouTube channel. Joe has been a great support over the last 4 years, and I felt like I wanted to make him something. So Joe, this is for you. I hope you like it.
Oh, that's so cool. That's sweet.
I made it for you.
What? Cool, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
You're welcome. What a Kodak moment. Oh, and I think there's one thing left for Joe. Hey, see. Oh, Joe, one more thing. It's for you.
Oh, cool. Thanks. Smells good.